But why do most of the airline companies struggle to generate income despite having been in business for many years? There is a famous quote saying, if you want to be a millionaire, start with the $1 billion and launch a new airline company, which was quoted by the founder of Virgin Group, Sir Richard Branson. For outsiders, the airline companies look lavishing and people also think that these companies earn a ton of money, but only the owner knows what it is to run an airline company. The airline companies are always one step away from bankruptcy. But why do the airline companies make losses? To know this, first we need to understand how do they generate income and how much it costs them to run their business. The airline industry generates income from many sources. The three significant sources are the passenger ticket, the cargo, food and the beverages. There might be other additional revenues also, like tours and packages. However, their contribution is negligible. The first one being the passenger ticket. The passenger revenue is a primary source which is selling tickets to their passengers. But this revenue is dependent on the number of passengers traveling and the average ticket price. However, in this case, if seats are not entirely filled, then the airline suffers some losses. And if we multiply the average ticket price times the total passengers traveling, we get the total passengers revenue. But there are several factors such as number of aircraft, number of departure and the routes covered. All these factors affects the passengers revenue. The second source is the cargo. Calculating the revenue from the cargo is very simple. The three major factors are the number of aircraft, number of departure and the average tonnage per departure. Multiplying all this we get the total cargo revenue. And the third factor is food and the beverages. Sometimes airline companies offer the best meals with satisfied customers throughout the world, while other airlines just fail to offer the meal which the customers demand. Now let us look at the operational cost of an airline industry. The first one is the fuel cost. Fuel is the airline industry's major expenditure and also fuel is said to be the raw material of an airline industry. Fuel expenses is said to be around 35 to 40% of total operational cost and sometimes even more than that. The fuel prices always fluctuates based on the geopolitical factors. Fuel costs are mainly dependent on the number of departure, average fuel price, and the amount of fuel used in every departure. All these factors adds up to the average cost of fuel that the airline industry bears. The next one is the leasing cost. Airline companies nowadays lease or rents the aircraft rather than buying it as it costs in plenty to buy one. So the airline companies rent the aircraft for certain period of time, saving a major amount in airline industries. Similarly, there are other costs which a company can't ignore, like the salary of the airline crew, staffs, hub fees, and airport fees. Airport fees are the charges paid by the airlines for using the airport facilities that include aircraft landing, freight, terminals, and so on. But to manage all these things seems very simple, right? But what makes it really difficult is all these prices fluctuates on the daily basis, and every time the prices fluctuates, the airline company has to come up with a new pricing where they have to keep their customers satisfied with reasonable ticket prices and other amenities. They also have to ensure that the new pricing has no negative impact on the company's revenue. Then how does company like Ryanair is so successful in Europe? Thanks to Ryanair because of their excellent strategies and masterstroke ideas. They are one of the most profitable airline company in Europe. Now let us understand the tactics they use to achieve success. Ryanair is an Irish-based airline company which offers significantly cheaper ticket prices compared to other full-service airline companies. Normally, all full-service airline companies like Lufthansa charge premium amount to their passengers to travel across and offer them free food, free drinks, and free check bags, and even free seat selection. But Ryanair, on the other hand, is not so generous with its passengers. In fact, Ryanair was the first airline that started to charge their customers for everything. They literally charged individually for meals, for beverages, for the passengers' luggage, and also the seat selection. Along with that, they also charge for check-in charges at the airport. Even though the customers pay individually for everything, still they are pleased with the Ryanair thanks to their excellent flying experience. Now, this gave them an edge over other airline companies that even after buying one or two services, the ticket prices would still be cheaper than other full service airlines for the customers. Normally, an average Ryanair ticket costs somewhere around 45 to 50 euros, and other services like meals would cost 10 euros, beverages 5 euros, luggage 30 euros, and seat selection 10 euros. So the passenger would at least buy one or two services. For example, adding a luggage and meals, which is mandatory to customers, will cost extra 40 euros per passengers, which in total makes 90 euros per ticket. And because of this genius tactics, 20% of Ryanair's revenue comes from these services. Whereas other airline companies' average ticket costs around 120 to 130 euros, which is still higher than the Ryanair. Now let's discuss about Ryanair's operating cost. First, it's about the aircraft. Normally, an airline company either rents or buy larger quantities of aircraft from an aircraft manufacturing company like Boeing or Airbus, where they get massive discount, sometimes discount up to 50%, where they will save huge amount of money. Then comes the expenses of staffs and the pilots. In fact, Ryanair spends most amount on their staffs, even though they don't have much staffs. And in fact, Ryanair does not employ a single pilot. Yes, they don't even have a single pilot. It basically means Ryanair do not hire any pilot. If a pilot wants to work with Ryanair, then Ryanair makes the pilot to set up his own company and then hire the pilot on a contract basis, which eventually saves taxes compared to regular employee. And they also don't provide any benefits to the pilots. Ryanair avoids all these expenses. Now the question here is, why would any pilot work for Ryanair? Since Ryanair is one of the biggest airline company in Europe, they believe that Ryanair gives them opportunity to work for them so that the pilot can gain more flying hours experience. And for their excellent treatments to pilots, even though they end up making less money, they value the respect given to them. Then comes hubs. Having been registered in Ireland, Ryanair has a significant advantage since Ireland promotes airlines by providing favorable tax legislation and accounting procedures, which definitely puts Ryanair ahead from other airline companies. And Ryanair operates a massive 80 to 85 hubs spread all across Europe. Since they operate on a wide scale and have a larger customer base, they avoid connecting flights, which significantly lowers them operating costs of airport and also avoids them the connecting airport fees. The tickets are affordable to everyone that create a demand and rapidly increasing the passengers traffic. Since these airlines do not have to make huge margins on individual customer, even a small profits coming from each customers would be sufficient to make them profitable. And because of this, Ryanair have achieved 15% more load factor compared to any other airlines in Europe. Low-cost airlines has a significant benefit to operate throughout the small cities. Since the ticket costs are very affordable, the passenger would take the chance anyway, thinking why not visit it and enjoy. Then comes fleet expenses. Before that, let us know what does fleet means. Fleet is actually total number of aircraft, specific type or model of aircraft. Different aircraft model has different features. And Ryanair is a low-cost airlines and hence they do not adjust the aircraft since they have a single type of aircraft and so they concentrate more on adjusting the price. While legacy airlines operates on a variety of aircraft models which allows them to adjust multiple types of aircraft, but they are not flexible in moving the ticket prices. And Ryanair, which has a huge advantage, operates on just a single type of aircraft where it becomes easier to maintain since they are all same type of aircraft. The parts of aircraft, the type of seat and all the other things related to aircraft can be maintained by same crew, which will ultimately save them loads of operational cost. And Ryanair is one of the largest airline in Europe. The new customers are easily attracted towards them. For example, Emirates is one of the biggest airline company in the Middle East, which makes them superior compared to any other airlines. Passenger by far choose to fly with Emirates because of the fame of the company. Bigger the network, greater the gain in the passengers traffic. And this is how Ryanair manages to remain on top and makes most of the revenue. That's it for now. Share and subscribe. See you next time. Until then, stay safe.